So this is page 10 in your packet, or will be page 10 in your packet. Okay, and we're going to highlight the important parts. So some important parts that I would write down are 44 lanyards and 240 bucks. Okay, and then lanyards are either black or gray, and they're sold for $6 each for black and $5 each for gray. So the one thing that I want to mention is how many color of each lanyard were sold. So basically how many lanyards were there? I did not write this question, so bear with me on the grammar. But now we're going to write two equations based off of this. So the first equation that we're going to write is the cost, and the second equation that we're going to write is going to talk about the number, or the total number of lanyards that we're going to have. So for the cost, it tells us that each black lanyard is $6 each. So this is going to be 6B, okay, where B is the black lanyards and G is going to be our gray lanyards, right? And so how much does each gray lanyard cost? It costs $5. So we're going to have 5G. And we're going to set that equal to, well, what's the total cost of the lanyards? 240, right? Everybody's okay on that, right? Okay. Now let's talk about the numbers. So the number of lanyards that we have. So we've got black and we've got gray lanyards, and we have total how many lanyards? 44. Okay. Everybody good so far? That's how we set up our equations. Okay. And now the question asks us how many of each were sold. Okay, so now we're going to have to use substitution, which is what we talked about on Tuesday. Okay, so we're going to use substitution to solve. So I'm going to take this second equation and I'm going to solve for the number of black for this one. Okay, so I'm going to get B by itself over here. So I'm going to subtract G from both sides. And that's going to be B equals negative G plus 44. Okay. Now, you see how this has B equals negative G plus 44? Well, we're going to take that and we're going to plug it into, this B right here. Okay. So, when we plug that in, this equation, we're going to get 6 times negative G plus 44 plus 5G equals 240. We're going to distribute, and we're going to get negative 6G. And then 6 times 44 is going to give me what? What is it? 264. Okay. Plus 5G, and we're going to set that equal to 240. Okay. So now we're going to combine like terms. So negative 6G plus 5G is going to give me negative 1G. Plus 264 equals 240. We're going to subtract 264 from both sides. Sorry, that's so low. So negative G equals negative 24. Well, we can't have negative G, right? So we got to divide by negative 1 on both sides. And that's going to give me G equals 24. So how many gray do we have? 24. Okay, so we now need to figure out how many black we've got, right? So what we're going to do is take this G right here, and the fact that it equals 24, and we're going to plug it in for this G right here. Okay, so we're going to get B equals negative 24 plus 44, which if we do negative 24 plus 44, what do we get? Wilmer already told us it's 20. The fact that you got Debbie and Jerry, right? And then the question that they asked is how much money did they have when their savings were equal? Okay, so let's talk about the word equal. So when I have two equations and they cross over at a point, which is like right here, right? That means that the two equations are equal to each other, right? Okay, now the question asks, how much was their savings? Okay, so what does X represent here? Probably like time in some form or fashion, right? And then this y-axis is talking about their savings. So what was their savings? $350. So it was $350 were their savings when they were equal. Look at that handwriting. Boom. It's spelled wrong. I did not write this equation, or I did not write this question. All right. So the system of equations below shows the rental cost Y in dollars, and for renting a heavy duty truck for X hours from two different rental companies, right? All right. So you got company 1, company 2, right? For what number of hours will the rental cost be the same for both companies? Okay? So, you see how this has y equals 20x plus 30, and this one has y equals 10x plus 50? What if you set both of those jokers equal to each other? You could, right? Because, like, y equals y. No, just me? Okay. So, you're going to take the first equation. You're going to set equal to the second equation. And the reason why we can do that is because it says the rental cost is going to be the same. Well, rental cost is this y variable, right? So if we say they're both the same, we can just set them both equal to each other and solve. That's why we can do that. So now we're going to solve. So we're going to subtract 10x from both sides. And that's going to give me 10x plus 30 equals 50. We're going to subtract 30 from both sides. So 10x is going to equal 20. Going to divide by 10, and Michelle's already got it. X equals dose. So that means that 2 hours, they're going to cost the same. Okay, so one thing I want to mention on this question. All right, first of all, you should have highlighted this junk, or talked about this junk, and the fact his name or her name is Justine. And then you got this person named Jesse. I don't know if it's a boy or girl. Okay, and then you got like 4 cans and 2 jars and blah, blah, blah. Don't sing Jesse. Don't start that. No. Okay, now here is the important piece. This question doesn't ask us to solve. All it says is to write a system of equations, right? Like, create the equation. So, okay, 1. Here we go. Okay, so you've got B is the cost of 1 can of beans, and then T is the cost of 1 can of tomato sauce, right? So when I write Justine, it's going to be 5B plus 3T equals 13.22. Okay? All right, so I did 5 times B, and 3 times T equals 13.22. For Jesse, okay, Jesse's going to be 4 cans of beans and 2 jars of tomato sauce. Okay, 4 cans of beans and 2 jars of tomato, and that's going to be equal to 938. It only says write a system. It only says write a system. So it doesn't actually say solve it, right? So make sure that you pay attention to what the question actually is asking for. Because, like, now I don't have to spend any more time. Like, we can move on to the next question. All right, on number 5, it says the only coins that Christopher has are nickels and pennies. We know these 2 things about his money. His coins have a total value of $1.05, and he has a total of 65 coins. 1, Christopher needs more money. And 2, we got to write equation for 2 equations. Okay, so the first equation that we're going to write is the number of coins he's got, right? And then the second equation that we're going to write is going to talk about the cost, or like his total amount, right? I don't want to say cost because, like, if he's not spending his money, he's just like writing an equation. All right, so we've got nickels and pennies. So we've got N and P. And we're going to set that equal to 65 because that's the total number of coins, right? Okay? And then we're going to write the cost. Okay, so here's where a lot of people make the mistake. For nickels, how much are nickels worth? 5 cents. So, how do I write 5 cents out? Please don't say 5 in. 0.05 in. Okay? And then for pennies, how much are pennies worth?
0.01p.
Okay, 0.01p. And we're going to set that equal to $1.05. Okay, Chris needs to get some more money. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Now, looking back at the question, all it asks us to do is write the system, right? So we done. Okay. All right. Listen, it's there. It's a whole thing.